Yo, welcome everybody. Look who's back. Back
What's
again.
going on?
Dante's back. Tell a
Back in the
friend.
game. What's
This
up,
is
y'all? It's
crazy. If
good
this
to
was
be back.
live, people would be like blown. People are gonna blow the chat up on the
I hope
premiere.
so. I hope people
Bro,
are
he's
excited.
back. He's back. He's back. You gotta join the live chat and watch the thing and reply once, just once. What's up, guys?
I always read the
I
chats.
know.
I
People.
I let them. I want them to be free flowing though.
No one knows right now. This is pre-recorded, so when this airs, no one knows. Like Dante, you texted me like yesterday, I think, like, hey, or the other day, Saturday. You were like, hey, let's do a video Monday. I was like, all right, cool. So then I was like, all right, cool. We'll talk about it on Monday. What we want to talk about, whatever, and we're gonna go. We have some points we want to go over. But like the thing that's amazing is that no one knows, and I think it's gonna be amazing because people are gonna be like, what, Dante?
Will this go up today?
Huh? Yeah,
When will
yeah.
this go up? Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I'll put up today. It's just a podcast. It's the conversation that everyone loves to hear. No, BS. You know that we don't have any, shilling or anything like that. It's just straight two guys that love cryptos, friends that met
Facts.
over the interwebs,
Facts.
And Dante, how you been? This is our first time being on air together in the new year, I believe.
Yep.
Um,
No,
there's
man.
a
I've
lot to
been
catch
good.
up on. What you been
Yeah,
up
a
to?
lot. A lot. Crypto has been, interesting, of course, always. But no, it's been good. Really, the first time I've taken a break from crypto this in the last year, maybe in the last 15 months, has been sort of January, February, and even that, it's like you're uploading so much, or it feels like a lot because obviously you have so many different responsibilities. But no, to everybody out there, I hope you guys aren't getting too bogged down in the dip of the market
Yeah.
because I know it does suck, but at the same time, as we always say, this is where the opportunity lies, guys. This is
Yes.
where the opportunity lies.
Yes. You know what I was thinking about? I was like, you're coming up on your 1 year now, or has it passed already? Your 1 year
On
anniversary of
YouTube, I
starting
am
content for crypto.
yeah, on YouTube I'm there. Like or not on YouTube. On in March I will be there, but
Oh,
in
okay.
terms of crypto, I have no idea how long I've been. It has to be longer than that.
No, I meant like when you started like your content creation,
Oh,
your
content,
journey. Yeah,
yes.
your
March
journey.
was when I first put my
Oh,
first
okay.
video out.
It's creeping up then next month. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's
So
crazy.
crazy. 1 year in. I think for me it'd be May for content creation. But my for to getting into crypto like full time was February. For you, full time was already like January, right? Like full time was when you fully dove into crypto. Because I know you've been around crypto
hmm
since like 2018, but like full time in regards to like, hey, I'm going all in on learning this, like, and getting advanced into this.
Yeah, no, full time in terms of like all my free time was spent
Yes,
like
boundaries.
obsessed with crypto.
Yes. That's
And
like
so
the
yeah, it's been good.
yeah. That's good. That's awesome. You've been I saw that you took a break, and I think I like hit you up, and then and you're just saying like you just needed some time off. Right? You got like got to see family and things like that.
Yeah,
Road
man, it's like
trips.
oh yeah, plenty. Like
Yeah.
it's just like you need sometimes it's like this community there's no denying it is like very new, very young in terms of what its identity is in itself, and it's very draining. Like when it's almost like it sucks to say this, but it's like if you see the price of crypto going down, it's not even like I care because I've owned crypto and I've seen it literally wipe its value so fast, and I've become somewhat numb to it, which is
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone in crypto eventually gets to that point. But like for the amount because there's so many new people, when you see the prices going down, it's like wow, like there's going to be a lot of upset people right now that whenever
Yeah.
you come back into the space, whenever you post a video, it's going to come out. But that's just part of, that's part of being who you are in this
Mm-hmm.
space or
It's
being
part of
in
the
the
journey.
spaces and also creating content for the space. It's like you have to accept those things and just get over them. And you shouldn't feel sorry for yourself and do what you love. Do if you truly genuinely like sharing the stuff that you're doing, if you genuinely like crypto enough to make videos about it or spend
Mm-hmm.
all your time talking about it, then who cares, right? Who cares what people say?
Yeah, that's what I was like thinking. I was like, the market like can damage you emotionally if you let it. If you
Mm-hmm.
succumb to the waves of the market, then you'll just live by how the market's treating you. So when everything's green and up, you're gonna be happy, and then when it's down, you're gonna be like, oh no, I don't know what to do. When I've been saying and we've been saying that when the markets are down, that's the time when you buckle down and be more disciplined and more focused, because that's where the wealth is made, right? Wealth, success is made from the red days, right? You cannot be successful without capitalizing on the red days, because if you only focus on the green days, you're buying at the tops of when the people that capitalize on the red days, you know what I mean? When it's green, that's when they're taking their wins, and you're buying. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you're basically getting a crash course in
yeah.
like markets and economics
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
in crypto right now, because it's like you learn so fast, you get taught so fast by the
Yes.
market what not to do and what to do. It's just really, are you going to take the advice, or are you going to learn the lesson, or make the mistake? And I've made
Yes.
multiple, like the same mistake twice,
Yes. And that's what I
with
want to
not
talk
taking
about.
profits, with
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff like that, where it's like, no, you need to learn that before it becomes a habit. And that's stuff that I've done. But we'll talk about it. John, you mentioned it before we started. Like, we'll talk about certain instances where it's like, you know what to do, but as soon as your own emotions get involved, you are clouded. You can give somebody
Mm-hmm.
else really good, not financial advice, but advice on, like, maybe this is the time to take profits, or wow, the market's really heated. Like, this is a time you could take some chips off the table. But then when
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to your own portfolio, you still have that emotional fear of, but it could still go up.
Yeah. And
And then that fear causes you to hold it too
yeah.
long, and then you end up getting wrecked. And I
Yes.
think it's unfortunate, because you also know, like, I think when the market's down, you also see who the real ones are. Not to
Yeah.
be
That is the critical thing.
not to be like that, but it's like, you really do. You see, like, even admittedly unfollowed like so many accounts that I realize are, they are, when you and I say like, oh, we believe in this long term, it's like, I really do believe in these things. But then it's like, you see the people who are also saying those things, and you think they're also being genuine, and then you realize, as soon as things don't go wrong, or as soon as things go wrong, they're out. Or it's like they were never really in it for the
Mm-hmm.
long term. They were just trying to get everybody else into it for the long term.
I had someone on the podcast. I think the last person we had on the crypto, Aaron. He said there's a lot of content creators that they're not crypto investors. They're bull run investors.
Yeah.
They only
Facts.
speak and make content when there's a bull run or when everything's green. When everything goes red, they disappear. They don't want to say anything. They don't know what to do. And I'm like, that's not how you want to be an investor either. You don't want to be a investor that only cares when everything is doing well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about it before we got on air, right? About how it's like out of my head now. I just had it, but I don't want to be on the air just trying to figure out what it was. But you don't want to succumb, like we just said, succumb to the emotions of investing. You don't want people you don't want to be manipulated by the market, because the market is being manipulated by people. And you can go on Twitter when everything's green, everyone's happy, everything's great, right? Everything's like, it
Yeah.
feels good to be on Twitter. It feels good to research crypto. Everyone's putting all these bullish stuff. When it's red, you see negative, all negative. Oh, it's over. I lost my rent mortgage. I lost this. It's all you see is negativity. You don't really see that many people trying to say, "Hey, this is opportunity. This is opportunity." And I feel like I know you're one. I know I'm out there still making content, sending tweets out saying, "Yo, this is a time for you to like sit back and see there's blood in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
You can
I mean, and the
enter
thing
new
about
projects. You can,
yeah,
you
I didn't
know."
mean to cut you off, but
No,
like
go
the
ahead, go
thing
ahead.
about Twitter, it's like, I haven't been posting on Twitter a lot, and it's not because, the market's down or whatever. It's like, no, I'm kind of realizing that maybe there's a lot less genuine people on
Yeah, you
Twitter
just gotta
than
sit
I
back and
thought.
see, wait and see. People
Just
will.
observing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it becomes unfortunate. But the point is, the more opportunity there is will come from the lower that these prices go. The more
Mm-hmm.
the longer these stay. I remember saying it on a podcast with you guys. I would be cool with it just going sideways for another year, because that just means
Yes, yes. Same
you're
here.
just dollar cost averaging, and it's more stable, and you're not going to lose 90% of your net worth in 2 days. Um, and you can stack and stack and stack until the next time that we have a nice little run up. Those of you who are just, and there's nothing wrong with this. Like, take your profits, because I'm telling you, I've
That's what I
had that
remember.
moment where I don't take profits, and I've had to learn from it. Very severe mistakes, but point is, learning from it is the key. But it's like, there will this market will recover. um when and how much, who knows, but it will
Mm-hmm.
recover. It could even, like, it's crazy because I realize, like, right now, if you go look at the Bitcoin chart, um, we put in just a slightly higher high and then just a slightly higher low in this last, like, up and down cycle, where it's like, imagine if Bitcoin just did that for next 2 years. Goes a little bit, the bottom of the last crash was like 29,000, and then the top of that next run up was just like a couple $1,000s more than 69K or whatever. But then we look to have formed a little bit of a bottom at 30K, which is just a little bit higher than the last bottom. What if we just did that? What if, like, market makers are just going to do that? Then it
Yeah.
becomes easy.
Yeah.
Making your money becomes very easy if that's the case, because all right, we're in a range that at the bottom of this range, it's a good time to buy. When we get closer to 69, 70K, that's when you should sell and just rinse and repeat. Would
Yes.
anybody be complaining if that was the case? I wouldn't be. It's just that there's the uncertainty of that actually being what is going on. And it could just, we could turn around and start crashing from here. But again, like I said it in my Patreon as well. Like, I don't think that's the case. I don't think crypto's going to crash from here
Yeah. No, it's
to
not.
places like where people are saying 10K and such. Like, it's always like an overestimation of where we'll go in either direction. But I know at least I can be happy with the fact that regardless of what I did or what you did, we were very clear about the fact that, like, listen, it's probably the best or most wise to sell in December, even if it goes back up. I didn't
Yeah.
listen to that advice,
Yeah.
unfortunately, because if I did, wow, I'd be in a much better
Yeah.
situation. But that's all in the past. The point is, like, whatever you lost, if you're holding, this is the important part about holding projects that will last, is that whatever you made and didn't take profits on, when the market recovers, you'll be back there and more if you're continuing to add to those positions. But that is only contingent upon the fact that you chose projects that are actually developing and are going to be around.
Yeah.
Because if you chose Wonderland Time or Thor or whatever, well, not Thor, but just an example, Thor feels like times, like, after time kind of fizzled out. Now Thor
It has,
shows
but
up. Like,
yeah, Thor's not
it's those kinds of projects you don't
standard
know,
yet.
they could be gone
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. But it's
Yes.
like, then there's these other projects like Quant, Luna. We talk about all of them. They're not necessarily going to disappear in the next 2 weeks
Dude.
just because the market crashed. So even if everybody gets scared and leaves the market for a year, which, that could happen, and nobody wants that to happen, but it could, those will still be around a year later when everything goes back up and parabolic.
Yeah. And that's very, very interesting what you say, because like Thor, right, pops up right after time, and everyone's like, oh, nodes are the thing, right? And strong is the end all be all node, right? It's the original. And I was reading things about saying that technically nodes overall aren't sustainable. They can lower rewards, they can lower as much as they can. It's just, it's not long term sustainable as of yet, right? No one's figured out how to make it sustainable forever yet. Some projects are doing well, but are they sustainable for the next 5 years or whatever, right? And I was thinking, like, man, this is like the new thing that's popping up. People are all into nodes, right? There was DAOs, right? We had the DAO wave, and then now everyone's trying to get into nodes, right? And then now I'm starting to see ecosystems are starting to create NFTs now, like different ones. So people are moving to different layer ones to buy NFTs. And this is very reminiscent to what happened over the weekend. I was speaking to someone that invested into crypto last year. They're not into crypto anymore. And I was trying to explain to them, like, why are you not into? And then they got burned by too many the ENU coins, the meme coins, right? And I tried to tell them there's some legit projects out there. And the only one that they can come up with other than Bitcoin and Ethereum was ADA, Cardano. And I'm like, you haven't heard of Cadena? You haven't heard of
no, because there's no way you're gonna get. You have to go so far down the rabbit hole to even get to a project like Cadena at this point.
Yes, Quant. They didn't even know Quant. They didn't even know.
No way. That's the thing. It's like Quant is on Coinbase. Quant is. You go look at the number of holders of Quant. I think it's like 40K or something. I don't even know how many, but it's not a lot, right? Compared to maybe the holders of one of these coins that you just mentioned.
They don't even know. The thing is, like, they don't. I tried to explain to them Solana and all these other things. I'm like, look, you look at Solana, and I'm trying to make it very simple. Solana was $2-3 last year. It hit a all-time high of like $100-$200. You have more projects that can do that. And I saw their ideology. Them and a lot of them, they don't care about the tech. They don't care. They
Oh yeah.
they like, it's legit in my face, and we've said it on the podcast multiple times. These people really want that 100x, that 1000x, and that they want that lottery. They want that lottery
Yeah.
feeling. They want that home run feeling. And
We all, I mean, it's not like
we all
they,
do.
it's like we
We
all
all
do.
do.
We all do. It's like a
Yes.
human thing, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Who knows? Or I don't know how to articulate it best. I'm sure there's someone out there who could, um, who actually knows this stuff psychologically.
Yeah.
But the point is, we all do. It's like part of our nature. That's how we get exploited in a market, is by our emotions getting the best of us, and survival, scarcity, all those things, right? So it's like, I understand, but in order to, because the only example that I have is Bitcoin. You look at what I knew about Bitcoin when I was a kid, and I was a kid, I was like in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I remember
High
trying to
school,
figure out how to mine Bitcoin. I didn't even understand what it was, but I wanted to mine it. And point being, you could have bought then or had any amount of Bitcoin, forgot about it for 13 years, and been sitting here today with
probably millions, probably, or six figures,
millions,
at least.
billions, who knows, right? But all you had to do in order to see that return, regardless of if you understood it or not, was just either forget about it or know that, oh, I'm going to hold this for a long time because I know the price will go up.
Do you think,
even if so it's like, what is the next project that's going to do the same thing? What is the next one where I can buy it and forget about it, regardless of if it goes up to 500 and then comes back down to 50? Eventually in 5 years, it'll be worth 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 20,000.
Do you think we're in that point of crypto where you can't have like half foot in, half foot out? Like, you have to kind of be able to go down rabbit holes. I feel like I have
right
that
now, because there's no, you cannot put your trust in anybody. You can't put your trust in me or John or anybody. I'm telling you, a viewer, personally, you can't put your, like, that's a lesson to be learned. Like, don't put your trust into anonymous frogs on the internet. Like, don't do it. Use me as an example. Like, that's why, like, some people like even said, like, delete your videos on time. I was like, no way. This is like this is like literally documentation. There's no way I would delete this. This is like for me to remember, like, listen, this was you at one point, and look at where that led you to. You can't, like, that's fake to me. It's like, at least my channel, it's like I post them and I look at it as like a progression. Each video is a progression on the other, and it's like it builds up to eventually wherever we end up one day, which nobody knows. But the point is, like, it's like a documentary. Like, you don't delete part of the documentary and pretend like it didn't happen. You don't delete part of the journey and pretend like it didn't happen. No, you acknowledge that you learned from it, and you needed to go through that in order to get to wherever you go or end up.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like holding yourself accountable as well,
for sure,
and keeping yourself grounded in a sense. Like, man, I'm not a prophet. Literally showcasing that, hey, I'm not a prophet. I'm just like you.
It's about showcasing the opposite.
I'm you.
Everybody who, if there's anybody who's trying to claim they are, then there's something that you like should consider. Is like, oh, if there is someone who is putting themselves out there or portraying themselves as someone who has this
never
ability
loses,
or
always wins, always the right plays, never betting on something that ends up being bad or goes wrong, sideways.
Exactly. Everybody in crypto, the success stories are always started, like, most of them start out with big fat L's. I took 4 or 5 big fat L's before I made it. That's how those stories start. They don't start with, oh, I came into crypto, I was, I just understand this market so well. I understand it all this so well that I never lost. That's just not true. And
I win, and I've never lost since. I've never lost since.
Yeah, like, no. if there is someone like that, then it's like, all right, like, what's going on here?
Yeah. That's
just the nature, again, of when there's a place with huge opportunity and a huge and huge speculation like crypto, there's going to be so many people who are going to try and exploit you. So it's like, at the same time, when you'll get the comments of people who will think you're trying to exploit other people, and you get, like, I'm saying personally, I would get upset by those sometimes, and I realize, like, well, can I really get upset? Because how is this person who's just come across my video going to know that, like, I'm really just being genuine about whatever I'm saying and not trying to be like what is basically 99% of the community? right? Like, why would I assume that? They don't know who I am, and like they don't know. They're just some random person on the internet. Same goes for, and then like that question, I turn it back on myself, and I'm like, well, why do I trust some random person on Twitter that I just followed that appears to be genuine, appears to be saying things that they mean, but you just don't know that. It's the internet.
Yeah.
And
And
so the overall overarching message, the only message, uh, if you took anything away from my channel or whatever, is that like you should just find, however you find a way to find trust in yourself, and realize that, okay, maybe I'm the only person I need in order to make these decisions. And even if I don't know that much, or even if I make a lot of mistakes at first, don't risk your whole life savings on everything so that you can only make one mistake. Leave
yeah.
yourself some wiggle room to make many mistakes so that you can learn from them and not be down and out,
Yeah, you learn the best from mistakes. That's when you learn the most. When you fail and you lose, there's all
Mm-hmm.
lessons, and that's why this, like, one of the things we discussed before getting on air was learning from your mistakes, and the main thing was when to take profits. Right? There's like when you when we were in the prime era before the crash, right? November, December. I call that the prime era of the most recent of the last 6-7 months, when everyone was up big, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had profits I could have took. I know for sure you had profits you could have took, and we didn't. I didn't. I know you did. And I was like, I felt regret, but then I was like, okay, it's good that I went through that, because now I know I won't let it happen again. Because when you look
Yeah,
at
that's the most important thing.
and I remember you said off air one time a while ago, there's always something when you look at your portfolio, and you've said this. I don't even know if you remember you saying this, but you said when you look at your portfolio and you go, holy crap, and you notice it, and it's like a feeling of like, whoa, I should take something here. You said that. That's a feeling that when you look at your portfolio,
I know, and I had it, and I
you
didn't
just
take it,
know.
and
You
that's
just
the
know.
that's the thing.
I remember you
He's like,
said
you
that
will
like in
know.
September. I remember it vividly. You're like, there's times when you look at your portfolio and you're gonna go, oh man, this is crazy. That's when you take something. That is when you take something. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember
And
you
I'm
said,
gonna learn from that. I promise.
yes.
I promise.
And everyone knows that feeling, and they think back,
But it's
just,
so hard to do it
yeah,
for yourself because
in the
what's
moment.
involved in your own journey versus
Yeah.
other people's. You
Yeah.
can tell somebody else very clearly and very logically, like, yeah, this is a good time to do this, that, and the
Mm-hmm.
other, and you're probably right. But the one factor that's not involved in somebody else
It's internal.
is the
Is their
emotion that is
internal.
involved with you. And
Yeah.
so that to me means that, okay, so emotion is the barrier to
Yeah.
why I may have done something that I necessarily didn't want to do, or
Yeah.
I didn't want to happen, or I was actively trying to avoid. So it's like, well, now we have to figure out how to get over the barrier of emotion. And I think it's, honestly, I'm at a place now where I'm really
You're
tuning
disciplined.
or turning back or the gears on Twitter, because I think I have my ideas, I have my
Mm-hmm.
convictions, but
Mm-hmm.
then they get tainted so much by just reading Twitter and
Other
the
things.
noise. And
Yeah.
so it's not to, and again, like that's why I say, like, it's, I don't have those things to be an influencer on those uh platforms. So it's like, yeah, my Twitter might just be irrelevant now, or die out, but
You I
who
feel like
cares?
you like how I've transitioned my Twitter is I kind of look up certain things just to see what's going on. I don't really base my decisions off of it as I used to back then. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you have so much value where you can just make content rather than consume content on Twitter. Because just by
For sure.
tweeting your thoughts, and I think that you should do that, continue to do that. That's what I've been trying to do.
I don't know. I've been very, like, I don't know why I don't do it.
You
I
should. You
save
have
them all
great
as
insight.
drafts,
Yeah,
basically.
you should just boom. Just, people would need someone like you that keeps it real on there, just to motivate them to whatever it is, to see like, oh yeah, Dante's thinking about this. I'm thinking the same way he is. Oh, great to know that I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? Some people need to see that, need to hear that, and then that's what I think. I don't like the whole, oh, this is the next token that's gonna do it. Like I will say something that I think about certain tokens and what I feel, and I feel like people need that, and then you're a voice that can impact the space positively in that way. So like rather than just consuming, I would just create on there. You should just create on there and then go it'll just be on its own. It'll be like its own living organism on it, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
You know what I
just
mean?
it's weird, like how I don't know. There's some things that I'm like, oh, I can share this, but then there's some things that I'm like, oh no, I don't really want to. But I don't know what is determining that. It's just in the moment, you know.
Yeah,
It makes no real sense, but it's just like, oh yeah, this was worth sharing, or I don't think this is worth sharing, um, or I don't know if people will take this the wrong way. It's mostly that. I feel like most
yeah.
of the time it's like I don't want people to take things the wrong way, and
But you
so
can't
I
control that.
avoid.
That's on them. You know?
But yes, you're right. And I shouldn't have a like I don't have a filter on my YouTube, so it's like why I guess because it's in writing. It's like
Yeah.
it's there for someone to immediately screenshot, comment on, blah blah blah. Like they could hold that against you forever. They could do it with YouTube too, but it's just like
They have to find the video, cut it up,
you can
record.
tell the
Yeah.
tone in which I'm speaking. You can
Mm-hmm.
tell it's almost like you can see me. You know what like. I'm not like behind some web page without my face.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think on Twitter, it feels like, you know, now that I've realized that there's a lot of people doing this like in a disingenuous way, it's like I don't want to even
Associate
do
yourself
it in a
with that.
genuine way, which
Oh
sucks
yeah.
because it's like you want as many genuine people as you can
Yeah,
have
that's why. Yeah, we
to
need
have input
more. We
on
need
things,
more
right?
people like that, like you, out there that are going to say things from your soul, your heart, rather than for likes and retweets and stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you say things that are like, hey man, this is what was on my mind. Stay strong. Like, you know, things that are uplifting, things that you think about, things that you think are dumb, things that you think, hey, this is not, you know what I mean? People want to,
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like
you
I don't
know,
feel like it's always uplifting and stuff. It's just really the truth. It's like
yes,
what my truth
yes.
is, and that could be different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Your truth is different to mine. Um, but it's good. It's like diversity of thought. Or
Yeah.
we don't want groupthink. Like we don't
And
want that.
we've
That's
said
dangerous.
Twitter like is the number one thing that every crypto investor needs to have, right? Is that you
Mhm.
something you agree with? You would need crypto
Yes,
Twitter.
because so much of the information is
Yeah.
just disseminates through there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like without Twitter, I wouldn't have found most of the projects that I'm in as early as I did. It's not
Whether they're
necessarily that I
successful
would
or
have never
unsuccessful
found them.
too.
It's just that like
Yep.
your network is your net worth type thing. We always say it like, but that's the thing. It's really hard to cut through the noise. I'm realizing I thought I was able to do it, but then, like I said, true colors are shown during these massive crashes.
Mm-hmm.
And then even some people that I've in the past recommended as people that I would say, hey, go, this guy's shared a lot of good projects. There are people I don't, you know, I've unfollowed. I don't really trust. And I guess don't put your trust in anybody on the internet. That's number one. I'm learning my lesson from that too.
Yeah, it's like you can kind of like take it with a grain of salt, you know? I look at it as perspective. I'm like, okay, I want to see their ideology on certain things, right? And it's not like you go and line up against them and go to war with them. "Ah, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? You kind of like take it with a
Yeah.
grain of salt and you go, okay, that's your perspective. It's similar to mine. Okay, cool. I'm not gonna stand behind you. Stand beside. I'm like, all right, I'm still walking my path. Whether or not I deter from your thought one day later on, I'm like, you know what? I changed my mind on how I view it. I don't view the same view as you anymore, and that's okay. You don't have to stay loyal to that person's thought, nor should they have to stay loyal to your thought. Everyone's free to have their own visual, like belief and visualization of where they think certain things are gonna go when it comes to crypto space. You can believe in Cadena, and it's okay for someone to say, you know what? I don't think they can actually do the things that they say they can do and move on. And that's okay. You should be okay
Yeah.
with it. But I feel like in this day and age, someone can tweet, Cadena's not gonna do what everyone thinks it is. They will come at you. People will go,
Yeah.
you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, and try to discredit you. Right? I'm just using Cadena as an example. It could be any protocol, right? The people, and the thing that's sad, I want to bring it up, is time, right? There was people, right, since the beginning that doubted time. It's a Ponzi scheme. And look what happened. Those people are probably the loudest people now. I told you. I told you. And it wasn't even half of them, I guarantee you, didn't even do research. They just were upset that people were in time and doing well. And then when it tanked, they took the opportunity to say, I told you. And that happens all the time.
That's when I kind of it hit
Mhm.
me. I guess that's when I realized when I saw so many people like
bash you
excited
and
about how down everyone was.
yes.
That was when I was like, whoa,
Yes.
that's pretty toxic.
That's the dark side of
That's pretty toxic to
yeah.
like want others to fail in. Or it's again, it's just a scarcity mindset, and it's crazy because
it happens with ADA too. It happens with ADA
Yeah.
every day. It happens with XRP. Happens with Quant. It happens literally with quant. People were joyful when it hasn't even passed back to all-time high, past 200. When it went under 200 and went under 100, people were joyful, and see, quant VXV. It happened to VXV. VXP at this point has been destroyed by the negative people saying, "Oh, you guys all thought it was gonna make you rich. It didn't. It's a scam." People are calling VXV a scam,
And and
it's
like
so bad. So many tokens that this happens to.
it's everything. It's just I think like I said, I think we're so young as a community. We'll grow, and we'll continue to grow once the understanding of like, oh, this is where this could go. All right, I'm gonna stick around. Like maybe I should stick around. Versus oh, like you made this much. Oh yeah, I'm in. You want me to get this coin? All right, I'll get it. But other than that, it's like there's nothing much past that. It's like, I mean, there's enough people who are interested in technology and the ideas and concepts around blockchain and crypto to get interested in it. But it's just about, oh, am I willing to put in the time? Because it does take time. It took so much time for me. And I'm not saying I'm at any point really, just in terms of my own like progression, that like my understanding of everything revolving this space. It took so much time to get to where I'm at, and it is sacrifice that you sacrifice time that could be put towards other things. The only way you're going to justify that is if you truly believe that the time that you're spending, it pays off.
Yeah.
You know, like if you don't believe that, then you're never going to get to that point where you're able to make decisions for yourself, or you're able to see through that noise. And I'm not even there yet, right? Like we're not even there yet because it's just, you're constantly on your toes about all these things.
Yeah. And there's like the 2 points that we want to talk about. I just know like this is leading into the last point I want to talk about. We want to talk about, which we discussed, because the other point was, I think this will be quick, is selling, like knowing when to get out of a project and knowing that belief that, hey, I can buy back into this project later on in the future. Right. And that's a point that I wanted to kind of showcase to people, because you actually gave me that, advice a long time ago as well, saying, and not financial advice though, but like you were saying a tip, right? You were like, hey, there's some projects out there that you can do well on, and then say, hey, I'm gonna pull my profits out, I'm gonna liquidate myself from this project, knowing that at some point in time, this project's still in its early stages to where it's so volatile that it can go back down to all-time lows almost, or halfway to all-time lows or whatever, and get back in, and you can accumulate more.
And
right?
Whatever you did in the meantime with that capital, say you just found something, like once you know where to look and what to look for, you can just whatever 2x, 3, 4, 5x you did, you can just do it all over again.
Exactly.
But then when you go back in, and I promise you, the price is probably not going to be at a point where you don't end up being able to buy 4 times more than you had if you just held. I know it's happened to me with quant because I didn't take profits on quant.
And you could have bought back
quant. I've taken very minimal profits. I have taken profits, but not to the point where it's like selling my whole bag and getting in when it's 5 times the amount. Selling at 400 and buying at 80, I would have 6, 7 times more quant than I have right now.
Yep.
So that's unfortunate, but it's not like the world's over and I'm done for. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to learn from that and make sure I don't make that mistake going forward. And it's also being able to say, oh, yeah, I'm in it for the long term, and then changing your mind. Like the space is changing so fast every single day that if you're not changing with it,
you get hurt.
Unfortunately, going to get stuck behind.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've learned too, is since last year, is realizing that you have to be ready to adapt at any given moment. Notice, and I'm going back to time.
Yeah, I'm saying this based on me not doing that.
Yeah, I literally built a game plan for time, and I was like, all right, time is gonna be my cash cow. Time is gonna be something that I put money in. It's gonna produce money to invest in all these cryptos. And look, it's not anymore. Now I gotta pivot and all right, well, what am I gonna do now? Like, how am I gonna consume all the projects that I wanted to consume using time? Now that time's gone, now I have to find a new plan. Like, okay, am I gonna just keep dollar cost averaging? And then like you can't Like, you can't fall victim to having a strategic plan that this is going to be my plan for the next 2 years. It's going to change. You have to be ready to audible any day, any day. Be ready to move on. Okay, this is not going to work. Okay, I got to do this. Okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. Okay, dollar cost average in this project. Okay, this dollar cost average, to be honest, though, in my opinion, is the safest, literally only thing that you can bank on. And that's literally like the only thing that you can say, okay, unless the project collapses and dies, right? But other than that,
Yeah.
it's the only strategy that won't have to worry too much about, oh, should I buy today? Should I not? You just, hey, I'm buying $50 a week of quant. Literally, that's it, right? $50 a week in the quant. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about the news, whatever. You just $50 a day every week. Every Friday, I'm
Keith
putting $50.
does that. Crypto.
Keith,
Okay.
Silver Stranger.
Civil Stranger,
Yep.
yeah. He was buying a quant a day. I don't know if he's still doing that, but the point is he's doing that unconsciously. He's not
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, I'm gonna buy the bottom and then blah blah blah.
Yep.
Eventually, again, it's the idea that one day it's gonna be so irrelevant because the price will have been so far ahead of where you were buying, and also the adoption and the use case of it is so far ahead that it's like, whatever. Think of any stock like Amazon. Think about Amazon stock when it was oscillating between
$6.
$100 and
It was $6
$0.
Yep.
Didn't matter if you bought at 0 or 100. I mean, it does matter, but it's like it didn't really matter if you bought like anywhere between 0 and
Tesla
50
too.
and 50 and 100. If you were still dollar cost averaging throughout that time, you're still up. Period.
Quant.
Percentage gain is green. That's all that really matters. You're making somehow this beautiful magic of turning your money into more money without really doing anything but just paying attention to something, or just
and believing in it too.
Taking some time to do some research. It's not hard.
Quant doubles its all-time high no matter what you won. Quant goes to 800, which doubles its original all-time high. There's nothing that you have to worry about in regards of when you bought in, how long you know what I mean? Any project doubles its all-time high. As long as your dollar cost average and you won, you're in a position where you can say, okay, do I take profits? Do I move it around? Do I hold it? Do I keep dollar cost averaging? You know what I mean? You're in a position where you have the ball, you have control of your portfolio in that regard, and I don't know. You remember when I was talking about my portfolio, you were talking about your portfolio. We were at all time highs. I remember distinctively when I was at all time highs and the amount that I had, and I didn't take profit. And I'm like, man, if I had just took like 25%, I would have.
And it doesn't even matter at this point because like I'm over it. I don't even like, it doesn't even bother me because I'm like, all right, the more L's you take, the closer you are to getting to the point where you know this, you know what you're doing. So the faster and harder you fail, I think, is the rest. I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, that's the recipe to getting to where everyone believes they want to be, where they're on the other side of all of this, and they've made whatever it is life-changing gains from crypto. I'm not special. John is not special. None of the people who have been able to make life-changing gains, unfortunately for y'all, you're not special either.
Yeah.
We are all of the same. We're all human and we're all able to do this, but it's just a requirement of consistency and belief that you're able to get out onto the other side of this. And I honestly think, like, if you're able to use the internet, if you're able to put some time into reading about these things, you're fine. You're going to do fine. And if you're, not letting your emotions, and all of these things are stuff that I'm working on actively, like emotionally, and making sure that just because fundamentally I may understand something, or fundamentally I'm very bullish on it, it does not mean, like I said, because the space is so new and the community is so young that it's there's not a lot of people who are really in that deep right now. There's not enough people. Like with time has had so much potential because it was legitimately doing something incredibly cool, but nobody was in it for the reasons of, wow, this is something that's incredibly cool. They were just in it for APY, blah blah blah, which I get because I was too.
Yeah.
But it became more than that. That's why I don't care about losing money on it, because it's like, you either go all in on the things you believe in, or you don't. You give your chance to succeed, putting your money where your mouth is, or where you believe it'll be successful or you don't.
The
All
thing,
of the projects we talk about could fail.
yeah, everything can go to zero, and
All of them.
you said
They could all
something.
go to zero. You have to accept that.
Hmm. And you said
The
something
point is,
very
if they
critical.
don't, you'll realize that you'll realize whatever was the trigger that put you into that place, you can now trust those instincts or intuitions.
Yeah, and you said
And then the
something.
intuitions that got you into the place you don't want to be, you remember not to follow them.
Hmm.
Or the mindless things that drive you in one way or the other way. And that's why I think Twitter, like, I've been trying to step away from Twitter just because it's like there's so many people who brought me good projects, but now are just turning into toxicity around
Yeah,
things that aren't doing well or things that are doing well, and getting people into projects that they know they're just, they're dumping on these people.
yeah,
And I was one of the people who've been dumped on. That's why it's like I can't bring myself to want
playing
to
that
interact
game.
anymore with
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
and you said something that's very critical in regards of getting into it because of your belief in it, right? And Time had even other projects, not just I'm just talking an example. There's some Time. A lot of people got into it through word of mouth, and not for the fact that it was trying to do something that's never been done and trying to set a standard, right? Other than
Mhm.
right? Ohm was what it is, but they try to do something completely different. And people got in not even for that fact. They got in for the fact that
And
someone else
Ohm is still
said,
building. I don't talk
mm-hmm,
about it, but Ohm is still building. Like
mm-hmm,
they're still doing things just because the price is no longer where it was and the
mm-hmm.
market is so dead. But Ohm is one that I still look at and I'm like, there's potential in that.
Yeah. And I think people got in the Time and it became consumed by people who were just trying to get rich, trying to
Mm-hmm.
get passive income and free themselves financially. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the
We all did.
last yes.
Admittedly, we all did for
Yes.
sure.
And that's the thing that I want to talk about, or our last point that we want to talk about is we said is influencing and community. I feel like the ultimate downfall of Time was its own community. The ultimate downfall was its own community because everyone was toxic when the news came out, and then everyone turned their back on the creator or the head of it, Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
I was there researching and looking. I'm like, man, the noise of the negativity outweighed the positive noise. And I was like, the own community was the downfall. They didn't. They didn't. They stopped believing. They flooded it. They all negative jokes. They allowed the negative noise to consume it and collapse it and made it to where that thing is tarnished to where they have to move on to a whole new thing, regardless of what happened. The community, and I was in the Discord. The community was horrendous. And when you go on Twitter, then I started realizing I'm like, there's no difference if you're investing because of someone on YouTube, right? Like I said this off air before. You should not be investing to something that I say or what Dante says or any other content creator says. You shouldn't just be following what we're talking about or whatever we like and just, I'm investing in it because they talk about it and it's cool. It's the same thing as if you're investing it because a community is talking about it. And a
Mm-hmm.
community is saying, oh, this thing is great. This thing is great. This is a great project. And then you just join the mob. Now you're part of the mob, the sheep mob. And then when it goes bad one way, all the mob goes bad that way. And then you don't even
Right.
know why you're in the first place. You're just going that way because they're going that way. And then now you're damaged, you're hurt. Everyone was complaining about how much they lost, right? But not knowing like, hey, you should know what you put in, right? And then obviously for us and anyone else who's like in for the technology or in for the fundamentals, the only thing is learning from when to take profits, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's internal. Everyone's time to take profits is completely different. That's one thing that we've learned. But in regards of people that just invest because the mob said so, you just join the mob. It's the same thing as joining a project because an influencer said something. So like you have to be able to navigate and understand who you are as an individual and what you're getting yourself into. Am I getting into this because everyone else is saying it's cool? Oh, it's safe. There's 1,000, 10,000 people are talking about it on Twitter. It's amazing. All right, cool. I'm just enjoying it. And you literally just type a question on Twitter. Is time safe? And you got like 500 bullish people, quote unquote. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. You don't even know. You don't even know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And those same people will flip on you in the instant as soon as it goes
Mm-hmm.
red.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and you're like,
It's funny
what?
because right now I want to tell you something. Right now my video is premiering, and one of the comments, literally one of the only comments,
Yeah.
is my title is Thorchain. Is it a good investment? Question mark. And I think the thumbnail is why it could be a big deal. ruin, why it could be a big deal. And one of the comments is, oh yeah, like VXV was a big deal. And it's like, I know this person probably watched the video or was invested and then watched the video or whatever, and VXV crashed.
Yep.
You
As did
realize I was a
everything.
part of that too, right? Like the
Yeah.
crash part.
Yeah.
And like I was also suffering from that. But the point is, like, yes, this is what I'm exactly talking about, as in like the price didn't go up because all of a sudden adoption happened. It was because
Hype.
people were just FOMOing in. So what did you expect to happen?
Yep. That's the era that we're in right now. We're in the era where a lot of these projects are getting their roses before they're even done anything. They're building it out.
Very true.
They're getting their roses before their LCX was one, VXV was one, Quant was one. 88 almost had it, right? I think.
And the thing is, it's right.
You can name them all. You can name so
it
many.
deserves some attention if
Yes.
it's for the right reasons. If it's
Yes.
just to exploit, or if you are just getting
Money.
in for simply and nothing but, I want this to 10x in the next 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months. It's probably not going to work out.
Alliance
based on
block.
my
Yep.
experience. Because every time I've done that, it has not worked out.
Yeah, and that's literally how majority of people are investing right now. And they move on from the project because it didn't do what everyone in the community says it's going to do. And I was victim of that too. LCX is going to hit $100 this year. Didn't break $1, right? Or LCX hit $10, whatever, right? Didn't even break $1. And those people that thought it was going to hit $10 think LCX is a scam now because it didn't do what quote unquote everyone else was saying it was going to do. It's still the same project that's going to be tremendous. It's still the same exchange. Quant's the same thing. Quant is still going to change the world when it comes to crypto, right? Mm-hmm. And people truly out there believe that Quant is a scam now because it didn't do what everyone thinks it's going to do. I'm like, do you know how early we are in its stages? Like, we're still talking about Ethereum trying to figure its stuff out, getting to 2.0. It's been 6-7 years now. You know what I mean? Ethereum,
like I said, these videos, whatever, all this stuff that's public right now, it'll just be documentation. 2 or 3 years down the line, we'll look back, we'll look at it and say, was I wrong? Was I right? Was I was I way off? Blah, blah, blah. But again, it'll just be like learning. You'll learn from whatever it is.
Yep. And
that's all I got, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's like the only thing that you can just kind of say to people is like, hey, we don't know what the future holds. We're still in the early stages of crypto. There's still more to come. We don't know what's going to happen, right? And all we can do is do the research, believe in what we believe in, and not fall victim to mob mentality of things 1000xing, you know? But I don't know if you have anything else in closing, if you have anything you want to say, anything.
If you're listening to this at this point, you're an absolute real one, and I appreciate you, and I know John does.
Yes.
And yeah, we're in this together, yo.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fam.
Yeah, welcome to the fam. Dante's back.
If you've been here for a while, welcome back.
Yes. There's going to be a lot of people that are glad to see you, like I said. So thankful for you coming back on. Love these type of videos with you. We just talk crypto,
of course, bro.
Chop it up. You guys know Dante's socials. I'll link him in the description. Mostly everyone on here is already following him anyway. But thank you again for getting on. I'm very appreciative of that. Everyone who's watching, if you guys share this to a friend that wants to hear crypto conversations, get everyone and get more people involved. We need more positive people in the space. But like I said,
and don't be afraid to be a part of it.
Yes. Yes.
Express your true beliefs and opinions.
Yes.
And we'll all gain something from perspective that you share. As long as it's truthful and honest and you've done, it's really how you feel.
But with that being said, we'll see you in the next video. Adios.
Adios, amigos.